Jen is vacationing with her parents when she meets Spencer, who seems like a perfect guy. They get married without her knowing he's a spy, and his past eventually catches up with them. Jen boards a flight with her parents for Nice, in France. She seems nervous, but Mrs. Kornfeld is more worried about getting some drinks. Mr. Kornfeld is proud she didn't back out of the vacation even after getting dumped. She thinks it was mutual, but they know Richard thought Jen is predictable and boring. Mrs. Kornfeld thinks she should have agreed to bungee jump with him. But Jen has too many rules and loves being cautious. Her dad agrees safety is important, and reminds her about the emergency exit. The CIA has located their latest target, Jasper Levino, a known arms dealer, in Cannes. An agent, Spencer, follows him to Nice and takes pictures of the ship Jasper got out from. He's staying at the same hotel as Jen, where he is warned about having limited time to do the work. Mr. Kornfeld doesn't like that their rooms are on different floors when he specifically booked adjacent rooms. Jen doesn't care about fighting with the clerk, and goes to see her room. She is about to step out of the elevator when she notices Spencer. She decides to stay back, and he keeps asking her something in French. She doesn't understand anything, but keeps nodding. They get out in the lobby and she keeps walking. She keeps looking back to check that he's right behind her. When they reach the beach, she finally admits she doesn't speak French. But when she accuses him of following her, he shows that he is clearly dressed for the beach. She feels ashamed and wants to hide somewhere. But Spencer introduces himself and asks her for a drink at sunset. She claims she has nothing better to do, and agrees to meet him at Stella Morris. Jen knows she doesn't have a single cute dress for their date. Spencer dives into the sea and finds a bag. He makes his way to the ship and installs a bomb under the helicopter. Jen is out shopping, but she tells her parents she's back at the hotel with an upset stomach. She asks them to enjoy without her, and Mr. Kornfeld assures her she will soon find the perfect and honest guy she wants. Someone spots Spencer and points a gun at him. He fights the man and dives into the sea with him. Spencer startles Jen at the table with a flower. He has ordered champagne, but she jokes about not liking it. The waiter takes it away, so she makes another joke in a robot voice. He is amused by this, and she assures him this usually works with the nerds. She spots her parents checking the menu, and hides under the table. When Spencer checks on her, she claims Mr. Kornfeld is a Russian diplomat who got touchy with her on the plane. When she mentions he even tried to get a room next to hers, Spencer hopes she changed it. But she claims she loves living on the edge, with spicy food and bungee jumping. Spencer claims there's nothing nice about puking in public, which is exactly what Jen also said earlier. But they're gone now, and Jen asks if they should order. Spencer notices the helicopter passing by, and wants to take her somewhere better. He texts something and the helicopter explodes, but he claims he lives a boring life. He pretends to be a consultant who travels for work. But what he really wants is to have some roots and get to know his neighbors. He calls her beautiful, but she gets awkward and blames it on the dress. She downs her drink, and he offers to get another one. When she's adjusting her tight dress, a creepy man mistakes her for a prostitute and tries to dance with her. Spencer helps her out, and they both joke about it in the hotel room. When she thinks he's about to kiss him, he takes out the tag from her dress. She freaks out and admits she can't afford the dress till her dad pays for it. She also admits she's not the spontaneous girl she is pretending to be. She lives a normal life and confesses that the mustache guy they saw is her dad. He's a pilot and not a pervert, but she is embarrassed she is on vacation with her parents after getting dumped. Spencer stops her rant and kisses her. She still can't breathe because of the dress and asks for his help to take it off. The zipper is stuck, so she asks him to tear it. He asks her to turn around and expertly cuts it with a knife. He covers her and moves away so she can change. She waits on the bed for him when he thanks her for being so honest. He feels like she's very real and wants to confess something. When he admits he murders people and turns around, he notices that she has already passed out. He keeps confessing about how he only ends people as a professional, but doesn't like it. But he knows he really likes her and wants to show her nice properly. He takes her to watch sunset, and they go skinny dipping. He's enjoying lunch with her when he notices a man looking at him. He leaves a book on the bench, so Spencer makes an excuse about the bathroom. He finds a note in the book signed by H, calling him to the cemetery. Holbrook is his boss, who thinks he will soon get over his crush on Jen. But Spencer doesn't want to slay more people, even if they appear to be enemies of the state. Jason used to work for them, but he had to end him now. Holbrook wants him to know it's common in their profession for people to change sides. But Jen trusts him, and he doesn't want to disappoint her. Holbrook doesn't think Spencer has an option, but he confidently walks out of the spy life. Mrs. Kornfeld is relieved that Jen is finally with someone who is attractive. They're worried about how Spencer is doing with her dad, but Mrs. Kornfeld comforts her. Mr. Kornfeld has heard Spencer is jobless, but he explains how tough corporate consulting is. He wants to settle down with Jen and open his own firm. Mr. Kornfeld points at his expensive shoes and explains that things last forever if you take care of them. Spencer asks Mr. Kornfeld to not be worried about Jen, because she's not fragile. He compliments his shot and learns that he used to shoot in the Marines and as a Boy Scout. The next shot is Spencer's, but he apologizes for not knowing. When Mr. Kornfeld scolds him for not being prepared, he takes the easy shot. Spencer thinks Jen is smart and funny and wants to ask for Mr. Kornfeld's blessings to marry her. He welcomes him to the family, and they both shoot together. 3 years later, Spencer surprises Jen with a newly remodeled home office. She can't believe how she got so lucky with someone like him. But it's also his birthday weekend, so she gifts him 2 tickets to Nice. She wants to go back to where they started, and already has some time off. But Spencer doesn't like this idea, and starts making excuses about work. He wants her to know the best part about Nice was her, which is why he doesn't want to go back. Spencer seems to have the normal life he always wanted. He knows all the neighbors, and Lily and Mac also invite him to a block party. Jen gives a confident pitch at work about their new internet security suite. Her boss, Mr. Newpar, loves the pitch and asks her to give the same one in San Francisco at the conference. She's supposed to fly out the next day, but it's also Spencer's birthday. She still doesn't say anything to Newpar, because she knows it sounds unprofessional. Mr. Kornfeld agrees that there's no need to babysit her husband instead of going on a business trip. But he agrees to take Spencer out, even if he's not happy about it. Spencer is working in construction, and asks his colleague, Vivian, if she can come in the next day. There's some trouble with the billing, and it's going to be a huge problem. They discuss the ugly showpiece on top, which Henry thinks makes a statement. Henry asks Vivian to get some flooring samples for the receptionist, Olivia. It's clear he wants to have sex with her, and describes how she gets more aggravated. Spencer reminds him that only happens in porn. Henry wants to hang out with him, but he refuses because of his dinner with Jen that night. Spencer gets a secret package with another message from Holbrook, asking to meet him. Jen's colleagues, Christina and Amanda, ask how it went with Spencer's gift. Jen is upset because Spencer would rather stay home than go on a vacation with her. Kristen thinks she's experiencing the 3-year snooze, which also happened with her. When she let herself go after 3 years, her husband left her for a reality TV star who speaks 6 languages. She asks Jen to be vigilant and not lose out on him. Spencer decodes the message from the book and calls the Peach Plaza Motel. He asks for a guest with the name of the photographer from the postcard. Holbrook picks up, and Spencer starts taking out his gun from the safe. Holbrook has a job for him, and thinks it'll be a huge problem if he doesn't do it. He shares a room number, but Spencer hears Mr. Kornfeld approaching, and cuts the call. Mr. Kornfeld wants to take him out for his birthday because Jen is tied up at work. He notices the postcard. Spencer claims his old boss is trying to get him back again. He explains that the hugs and kisses are just a French thing. Mr. Kornfeld doesn't like how he is dressed, so decides they will stop at his place so he can change before dinner. When he leaves, Spencer picks up his gun again. Spencer feels nervous because Mr. Kornfeld is staring at him during the drive. When they reach the house, he scolds Spencer for keeping the house so dark. Spencer thinks there might be a danger inside, so he asks Mr. Kornfeld to check for his keys in the truck. He's about to take out his gun when he realizes it's a surprise party for him. He doesn't let Jen hug him properly because of the gun. He makes an excuse to change in his room and calls the motel again. Pete seems very interested in Spencer, but he escapes him to find Mrs. Kornfeld and Jen in the kitchen. Mrs. Kornfeld offers to come over the next day so Spencer doesn't have to be alone on his birthday. He makes an excuse about the block party, but she offers to go with him too. Henry bores Mr. Kornfeld with dirty talks about women while Olivia tries to flirt with Spencer. He looks over at Jen for help, but she hopes he's having fun. Jen isn't sure Spencer liked the surprise, because he seems distracted. Amanda asks her to cut him some slack since he wasn't expecting a house full of people. Jen thinks Kristen might be right about the 3-year snooze because Spencer doesn't want to go on a vacation with her. Kristen assures her she has nothing to worry about if they're still having sex. They cut his cake and see off some drunk guests. Henry is crashing on their couch when Spencer offers to clean so Jen can start packing for her trip. Spencer checks all the windows before coming to the room. Jen directly asks if something is wrong between them, but Spencer reassures her. She tries to flirt with him, but he asks her to prepare for her early flight. She tries to kiss him passionately before leaving, but he seems uncomfortable in front of the neighbors. Jackie stops Jen on the way and indirectly complains about the noise. Her husband, Doogie, wants to discuss some fence on the property line issue with Spencer. Jen asks her to take it up with Spencer directly because she is getting late. Jen calls her parents to ask if they had fun last night, and promises to call from San Francisco. Spencer makes coffee for Henry and asks if it's his phone which is ringing. Henry checks his message and asks Spencer to get milk for him. Henry attacks him with a knife when he closes the door. Henry finds the scared look on his face very funny, but he keeps attacking, and it becomes clear Henry is actually trying to end him. They keep fighting, and Spencer tries to run upstairs to get his gun, but Henry pulls him down and they fall from the stairs. Jen comes home to surprise Spencer and finds him and Henry fighting. Spencer asks her to get a gun from his bedside drawer. She doesn't have time to process this and runs upstairs. He asks Jen to shoot him in the face, while Henry begs her not to. With all the pressure, she shoots him in the arm. Spencer is surprised because he never expected her to shoot. She's still in shock about shooting someone, but Spencer asks her to get the duct tape from the basement. He assures her it will be fine, and Jen tapes Henry to a chair. He punches Henry on his wound to wake him up when Henry gets a message. Spencer knows someone hired him to slay him. He's hurt because he thought Henry was his friend. Spencer reminds him how he covered for him with clients and drove him to clinics. But Henry wants them to know that there's a $20 million bounty on Spencer's head. Jen feels like she's about to puke. For the first time, she knows Spencer is hiding something. He tries to calm her down and promises to explain later. Jackie starts calling out to them because she can see Jen's car parked there. Henry thinks all his neighbors might be in on it too. It's a huge bounty, and he is sure everyone would want to slay him. Jen thinks Jackie just wants to talk about the property line. But Spencer is more careful now and locks the door. Someone starts shooting at them, and Spencer takes Jen out from the back door. He starts driving, but Henry also manages to escape from the front door. Jen wants to get out of the truck because she doesn't know who Spencer is anymore. He assures her he's the same person he married. He can't tell who employed him, but indirectly lets her know he has a license to murder. Jen has trouble breathing and wonders if they're even legally married. He assures her he got out of this business in France. Henry is following them and has a gun. Spencer asks Jen to spread her legs and takes out a gun from the seat. As Henry starts shooting at them, Spencer knows how to handle the wheel. He manages to get a head start when Henry gets stuck. He stops at an empty construction site and asks Jen to hide while he goes to eliminate Henry. After a while, Henry catches up and starts trying to slay Spencer. They get into a car chase and there's soon a lot of dust around Spencer. As it settles, he notices Spencer coming from the site, and he pushes his car into a ditch. After confirming he is dead, Spencer asks Jen to get into the truck. She wants an explanation first, and he admits he was recruited in college. They were looking for independent people, and he didn't have any parents. He asks her to be mad at him in the truck, because it's not safe out there. He asks her to spread her legs again and takes out some bullets. She wants to know how many people he has ended. He honestly admits it's 15 including Henry, and all of those people were bad guys. When he fell in love with her in France, he got out. But his boss reached out yesterday, and he wants to go to the hotel to find out more. Jen brings her gun along, and he gives her a child's bag to keep it safe. Her dad calls, but she decides to ignore it then. Mrs. Kornfeld assures him that it's too early to check on Spencer and Jen. Spencer isn't able to get into the room, so Jen hands him an employee badge. Holbrook has been shot on the bed, and Spencer can tell it's the work of an experienced shooter. It happened that morning, and he asks Jen to survive there a little longer so he can get information about Holbrook's target. He thinks he's missing something and notices how flashy Holbrook's watch is. It usually holds a flash drive, which is missing from the watch. He knows Henry couldn't have killed Holbrook, because his contract only started with them that morning. But there was another shooter at their place, and he thinks that might be a clue. Jen wants to go to her parents with this, but Spencer assures her it's a bad idea. He thinks her parents live 5 minutes away and keep interfering in their lives. Her dad also keeps scaring him and advises him to do things the Kornfeld way. He reminds her he's her husband, and knows things have to change if they ever plan to have kids. Jen pukes again, and they head to the store. Pete stops Spencer there and tries to talk about the wreck in the garage. Spencer shouts at him because he's worried about Jen's safety. Jen thinks it's a little late for protection, because all the signs make her feel like she's pregnant. She reminds him she had to stop taking the pill last month, and asked him to be careful with sex. They keep arguing about whose fault it is, but he asks her to hurry with the test. Kevin, the manager, comes to assist them in their search. When Jen asks him which test is more accurate, he takes out a scanner to check it. But Spencer reaches for his gun because he's suspicious. Jen stops him right in time for Kevin to tell them the tests are on sale. Spencer picks some more samples from the shelf before leaving. He needs to follow protocol and report Holbrook's death. He knows they can get a safe house for Jen till he figures out who Holbrook's target was. He asks her to not get upset because he needs to steal a car. But it's the least awful thing they're doing that day, so she asks him to go ahead. Spencer reports Holbrook's demise and asks for a safe house. He thinks Holbrook's target has put a hit on him. But he learns that Holbrook had no target, because he's not an active agent anymore. This confuses Spencer and he turns around. He knows they will have to search Henry's stuff to get more information. Jen hacks into Henry's laptop and mostly finds a lot of porn. They also find pictures of them taken from 2 years ago. They realize that whoever planned all this must have placed these people in their lives 3 years ago to murder Spencer. He points out that one of the photos was taken by her dad. She gets irritated with this assumption, but he reminds her they have to find out if she's pregnant. Spencer follows her to the bathroom because he feels like there's danger everywhere. She can't focus in front of him even after he starts the tap and puts on some music. He agrees to go outside and guard the door, but hears someone. It turns out to be Vivian, who thinks there's a problem with the billing. He asks her to forget about it, but she suddenly attacks him. She gets hold of his gun and chases him across the office. He manages to get the gun back, but she has him tied up under her. Jen tries to shoot at her, but the gun doesn't work. Spencer then shoots at the ugly chandelier, which slides across and instantly snuffs the life out of Vivian. Jen knows she's going to be a mother, but isn't sure she wants him to be the father yet. He can't change who he was, but promises to figure this out with her. But when he has no concrete plan, she claims it's over between them. She needs to protect the baby and drives away. She crosses Olivia, who shows her the middle finger. Someone calls on Henry's phone, and Spencer gets shocked. Milo has a package for him, but Spencer is more cautious now. Milo asks him to come to the other side to collect it. When Spencer asks for a pen for the signature, Milo takes out a gun. But Spencer already suspected something and tries to get away from him. As Milo keeps shooting, Olivia reaches there and hits him with her car. She's glad Spencer is fine and complains about the damage, but she soon turns the car towards Spencer to slay him. He gets into the delivery van and wonders if there's anyone there not trying to end him. He runs towards his gun as Olivia's car approaches. Another car hits hers, and it gives Spencer the head start to kill her. The car turns out to be Jen's, who is now helping him. He asks her to steal a car and suggests on the road that they can take couples counseling. She wants to know their immediate plan, for which Spencer has an emergency bag in their house. It has money, weapons, and passports for them. He already planned for something like this to happen, but he claims he had to hide some things to keep her safe. He reminds her she lied about her dad the first time they met. She still came clean, but he doesn't think it's his fault she slept off when he was trying to confess to her. She feels bad he had to be a spy and not a normal husband hiding some porn. Jen still wants to go to her parents, but Spencer is still sure that's a bad idea. He knows he can protect her and asks her to take the car to the house. But they run out of fuel, and he blames her for it. She argues about not having time to consider fuel in between whatever has been happening the whole day. A car catches up to them, and Spencer asks her to run. As Lily chases them in the car, Mac tries to shoot at them too. Mac and Lily drive through the fence, but crash into another car. Spencer and Jen have reached the block party on foot, and he asks her to stay close as they walk towards their house. People keep giving them dirty looks, and they don't trust anyone either. Kristen lures Jen with some corn dogs and wants to use her bathroom. But Spencer needs Jen to ignore, because anyone could be involved. At home, Spencer asks her to get the bag from the office. The combination to the safe is their anniversary. He plans to get more hidden guns while she's at it. Mac and Lily sneak into the house when Jen is reading details about her fake passport. She still hears a noise and asks around for Spencer. He has collected some guns when he spots Mac and Lily and hides inside a closet. Jen finds her mom at the house and hides her gun. But Kristen is holding her at gunpoint, which somehow makes sense to her. Lily and Mac enter the room Spencer is in. They think he's in the closet and start shooting at it. Kristen is worried someone will get to Spencer before her. She has patiently heard Jen crib about her perfect life for 3 years, and she doesn't intend to mess this up now. Liv and Mac find the closet empty, but Spencer comes out from the top and attacks them. Someone shoots at Kristen, and it turns out to be Jen's dad. Spencer is pointing a gun at him, because he knows Mr. Kornfeld eliminated Hallbrook. He has checked the message on Henry's phone and knows he set the target on him. Mr. Kornfeld explains that he put sleepers in Jen's life because he didn't trust Spencer. He only activated the assassins when he saw Hallbrook's card in Spencer's office. He thought Spencer was back in the game and coming after him. Spencer doesn't understand why he would want to eliminate him, but he reminds Spencer about Nice. Mr. Kornfeld was supposed to be on the helicopter Spencer put the bomb in, but didn't go when he saw Spencer in the hotel. Mr. Kornfeld still thinks Spencer is in the game, but he drops his gun to assure Jen that he's out. Jen asks her dad to drop the gun because she knows all this is not good for the baby. When Mr. Kornfeld learns he's going to be a grandpa, he shoots at Lily coming from behind Spencer. Jen thinks it's the perfect time for a trust circle. She has understood her dad and Spencer are to blame for everything. She wants to accept that she unknowingly married a liar like her father. She forbids them from lying, stealing, or slaying anyone if they want to be in the baby's life. She asks if there's anything else she needs to know. Spencer admits English is not his first language, and that she said "I love you" in her sleep before him. Mr. Kornfeld is about to confess something when Jackie knocks on the door for the fence. Mr. Kornfeld and Spencer instantly have their guns up. But Jen opens the door and punches Jackie. She knows Jackie is not an assassin, but still liked punching her. Spencer fixes a device for his son with Mr. Kornfeld. He's growing a mustache, which makes everyone think he wants to be like Mr. Kornfeld. He denies it, but Mrs. Kornfeld still thinks every girl marries her father in some way. She describes her own father in disturbing details. But Jen reminds them they're here to babysit so she and Spencer can go out on date night. Spencer knows he has to trust them with the baby. But before he closes the door, he makes sure there's extra protection.